Hello, everyone. Hello again. Let's get ready for the next talk. This one is especially interesting for me because at Upsilon, I'm also taking care of our talent management system, so I hope I will learn a lot. The talk will be by Matt DeLoia, who will tell us about soldier talent management using Shiny.
Okay, just first off, can you hear me all right, Michael?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
Bonjour. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, in this community of our Shiny users. Again, my name is Matthew DeLoia. I'm a recently retired U.S. Army officer. I served for 22 years in both the field artillery and as a Army analyst, and now I work for a company called Peraton, which is headquartered in Washington, D.C. And today I have the great opportunity and luxury to speak to you on Army talent management challenges. And today I will specifically address a problem or a solution approach prototyped in Shiny. So let's begin. So I want to start off with a little bit of background information. The Army has always emphasized talent management. However, fairly recently, they have re-emphasized it and published a strategy, and along with the strategy, applied additional resources and created some initiatives. If you read through this near-term priority, it'll be really the topic I'll address throughout this conversation. How to attract and align new soldiers with best fit jobs across the Army, which will reduce attrition. Now, this is a pretty daunting challenge for the United States Army. Each year, 60,000 men and women enter the U.S. Army, and there's 190 specialties from which they can choose. When a new recruit enters a recruiting station, they can expect to take 3 talent assessments, and these cover areas of knowledge and skills, behaviors or personality, and preferences or interests. And I will show here, these are the actual tests that the military, the United States military and the Army together have developed. The cognitive proficiency test is called the ASVAB. The personality test is called the TAPIS. And the interest diagnostic is called the AVID. In the Army, everything needs an acronym. So these are best known as the ASVAB, the TAPIS, and the AVID. Now, despite all of this information that can be collected on an individual and available at the recruiting station, career selection really revolves around 2 things: the cognitive ability scores from the ASVAB, and these often serve as screening criteria. Many of the MOSs or the specialties anticipate high cognitive demands in their responsibilities, and therefore have set thresholds that are rather high. And so this can screen many individuals out of the opportunity to serve in that specialty. The other key determinant is the immediate needs of the Army, the needs that year. Now, I would suggest to you, this is not a great talent management approach for a large organization like the United States Army, where they're really trying to optimize both performance and then satisfaction so that there's longevity of these soldiers and potentially a career of 20 years or more of service in the Army. There are some tools out there to help a prospect understand what opportunities exist in the Army. However, these are not talent management tools. These are just information sources, and they apply some great filters so that you can navigate through a lot of data and a lot of information. And last here on this background, I have used the term already, MOS. It stands for Military Occupational Specialty. These are the 190 different roles that you can fill within the United States Army. So how to improve a recruit's occupational specialty selection? Today, I will demonstrate a solution approach, a MOS Fit reporting tool designed to leverage the entry-level assessment results. And those are those 3 tests that I mentioned before: the ASVAB, the TAP, the TAPIS, and the AVID. Now, the R Shiny app that I'll demonstrate, my form of the MOS tool has 3 main components. In the user interface, there will be 3 tabs for data entry across interest, personality, and skill. And these are meant to be the assessment results that you would get at the recruiting station. The second main component on the server side are value functions or fit algorithms. And then these algorithms will then allow for the arrangement and the ordering of the 190 specialties based on the individual's inputs and then their proximity to solution profiles that have been developed by groups of well-performing soldiers in each MOS. And then the final component on the user interface are reporting features, different visualizations, tables for MOS exploration and information download. These are the great luxuries, as many of you know, of our Shiny of the R language. Okay, before I take you through a demonstration and a walkthrough of the tool, I did want to show the sunburst plot. This was developed using Plotly. And what you see in the outer ring of the sunburst plot are 120 of the Army's 190 specialties. I'm going to drill into the career area of combat. And these are the specialties that many of us are very familiar with. You may see them on TV. They have attention in history books. This is what you see in the news, such things as the 11 Bravo infantryman or the combat engineer, 12 Bravo. Or one of my favorite, having been an artilleryman, the 13 Bravo cannon crew member. So many of you may be familiar with these MOSs. These have a high density of the soldiers of the Army. But did you know all the opportunities in the medical career area? Did you know you could be a preventive medical specialist or a veterinary food inspection specialist or a pharmacy specialist? So in an organization as big as the US Army, there's about any opportunity to fit anyone's interests and talents. In the arts and media career area, you can be a musician, combat documentation production specialist. So this just gives you a sense of the breadth of opportunities. And the challenge is to expose these opportunities and match a good fit to 60,000 or more each year prospects. Here's just a few of the references that I've used in developing this presentation. All right, let's now transition to our Shiny. And I'm going to walk you through this MOS Fit tool. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the features, as I know that may be of interest to many of us. But you'll also see some results, and you might sense the value in a talent management tool such as this. Now, again, this is a prototype. What is behind this and the actual value functions is not detailed research. It is just application of some good thought using some open source information. However, there has not been a detailed research behind the fit algorithms, and therefore this is version 0.9. Okay, so what you may notice across the top is a nav bar, that this is a nav bar page. There are quite a few different tab panels. The first three are inputs of interest, personality, and skills information. So this is one of the main components of the user interface here. And then the second four tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are all the reporting features of the application. What you'll see are different action buttons to help you navigate sequentially through this. And then the key, one of the main input widget, what you see right here is the slider text input, not to be confused with the slider inputs that result in numerical outputs. This, I really like this. You can label your scale. This does produce character outputs. In this case, I have to convert them to numerical values in reactive code. Okay, so we'll take ourselves through this, explore Army specialties. We'll do this in less than 10 minutes. So first, complete the interest, personality, and skill questionnaires. And then second, review and download personalized results with the MOS Explore report and Viz pages. You are going to see an awesome checkbox group. You'll see one text input to put your email if you would choose to have a report sent to your email. You're going to see quite a few data tables and the outputs. There are some plot outputs. There is one plotly output, a sunburst plot, like you've seen already. And then there's some download buttons to download results to your hard drive. Okay, so we'll start off with inputs across interests. And these are the interest categories of the AVID. So this is what the Army assesses one's interests across. So you can see some of the categories: construction, protection, mechanical, outdoor. And I've already pre-populated this. I've just come up with I've come up with just a notional individual and how they might respond. Now, I've thought of this as somebody who's interested in technology. My goal was to describe what I thought a computer scientist might look like, and we'll see if that comes out in the fit algorithms. Some of the other interest categories, you can see mathematics, information technology, leadership, office work. Okay, so we've completed this section. We use the slider bars to indicate how we assess ourselves. Okay, this can also be replaced with numerical entry boxes for the actual scores from the AVID, the interest inventory. So we'll proceed forward to the personality categories. So this does follow the 5-factor model of personality. These are the different categories assessed by the Army in the TAPIS: adjustment, adventure seeking, and you can see where I've placed this notional individual: very high here, rather low here in adventure seeking, attention seeking, below average, dominance, average, intellectual efficiency, well above average, non-delinquency, well above average, physical conditioning, average, tolerance, above average. We'll change this. We'll put them well above average. And then moving forward to the final page of inputs. Now, this might be a little difficult to understand these terms. I'll do my best to explain them. So the ASVAB has many different subscores that are part of it. And I've input 4 of the 9 subscores. So the ASVAB general technical composite scored, I've put it here at 119. Now, 100 is considered average cognitive ability. And so I've already put this individual at roughly 2 standard deviations higher than the Army population's average. In science and technology, also rather high. And then here in the ASVAB mechanical maintenance component, a little bit lower. Okay, again, 100 is average, place them at 107. And then electronics, 110. So again, this is the cognitive test results that you take at the recruiting station. And then in terms of secondary education, putting in one's general scores across the 4 different core areas: mathematics, an A, which of course is high, science, an A, and then social studies, a little bit lower, and then language arts, a little bit lower with a B-. Physical fitness, how do you rate your current physical fitness? And then there's some information here about what you should compare that to. And I'm going to set this at, let's go down to well below average. And then previous work experience and skills. So these are really valuable inputs. This is awesome checkbox group. You have the opportunity to check some of the things that you've gained considerable skills in. And this is just a short list of all the different skills that the Army values. Here I've selected computer science, suggesting this individual has a deep background there, culinary arts, and finance. Okay, so we've completed the 3 tab pages that are inputs, and now we'll begin to explore. So, I didn't really set this up, but my goal when I developed this Shiny app was really to be able to take a lot of information, have a simple way to provide inputs, ensure it's intuitive, and then ensure it's informative. And I didn't want to get overbearing with all the output visualizations. So here you'll see 4 simple ways, I believe, to share the MOS Fit results. So we're going to start off with 12 different tables. Each table is titled here according to the career area. So administrative, and we'll look over here, arts and media, combat. And as we've made these 41 inputs, all of the value functions have been computing and resulting in fit scores. Now, these fit scores are highlighted green because they are exceptionally high, which suggests a good fit. So you'll see this individual, the 36 Bravo MOS, it is predicted that this might be a satisfying MOS for this individual and one they would perform well in. You can see in the arts and media, musician, public affairs. Let's come down to combat. So the inputs here don't show good fits across any of the combat MOSs. I guess the best one, air defense battle management system operator. Now there's quite a few MOSs here. Let's take a look at them all, or we'll take a look at a subset of 10. I'm really looking for infantrymen. I'm curious where this individual's infantryman fit score sits, which is always kind of an interesting gauge, because many of those who enter recruiting stations may be thinking, I want to be an infantryman. I want to be a soldier that, the infantryman is one of the highest density MOSs in the Army. It may be the biggest, the highest density, meaning the largest number of soldiers are infantrymen. And here the fit suggests this may not be a good fit based off your talents or based off your personality and interests. So I believe this can be extremely informative in the talent management process. Okay, we can proceed down the 12 different tables. You can see many of these are highlighted green, but the preponderance are not. So this is one display feature. This is a reporting feature with a bit more information. So for instance, this individual, their highest score, 0.96, is for a cryptological cyberspace intelligence collector. And then next, unmanned aircraft systems operator. And then we've arranged important information for the prospect to see and to understand with a recruiter, such as how long is the advanced individual training? It's 26 weeks. Is there a bonus, a monetary bonus if I enter this field? No. Do you need a clearance? Are there any other special requirements, such as language? Do you meet all the ASVAB requirements? So in many of these, the minimum scores are met. Here, this individual is flagged with their electronic score. It does not meet the minimum requirement. And then there's information in terms of a description. The compo, this might be familiar to many of you. The US Army has an active component, and then it also has a component that includes the reserve component, which includes the Army Reserves and the National Guard. Proceeding forward, there's a visualization. This is just a repeat of the same information using a ggplot, and there's a few items that are indicated here. Is there a bonus? X means no. The O means yes, and then any of the flags are highlighted with a colored outline. And then an individual could either put their email in here and email this report to their account, or download the visualization to their computer. And then last, I really like the sunburst plot. I didn't really use it until I made this app, and I thought, this is an easy way to share information. So I have a slider input here to place a threshold. So let's come up to 0.8. Okay, so there's many specialties that still suggest a good fit. Now you can see most of them sit in computers and technology, aviation. Let's go a little bit further up to the 0.9. Okay, now you can see, again, there's many MOSs that appear to be a great fit in computers and technology, a few in the intelligence career area. Let's see what this one is. Construction and engineering, technical engineer. So I think this is a great and easy way to filter the information and really see what core career areas you're fit, and potentially your interests, your personality, and therefore your performance longevity might be optimized. Okay, well, I really appreciate this opportunity to kind of take you through this tool. Again, this is a prototype. It is a solution approach to the challenge the Army faces with conducting talent management for so many individuals each year, but I think the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there because the Army collects some great information on each recruit as they enter the recruiting process. Okay, with that, I will pause and take any questions. I'm looking at my private chat screen. And if there's, I assume, Michael, at this time, you'll facilitate any questions. Thank you.
That's right. So thanks, Matt, for your talk. This is super interesting for us because at Upsilon we also have a system that in this direction. Let's say, of course, not as complex. So it's and personally, I'm involved in it. So this was not pre-planned, but a great opportunity for me. So my first question is. How many people are using the app? Because the audience is those recruits, as I understand. So how many people are actually using it, and what are their reactions, if you have any data about that?
Yeah, so I can't say it's in use. Again, this is a prototype. The United States Army has worked on the measurement tools that you've seen that I displayed here, the interest and personality, especially. They've been working on them for quite some time, approximately a decade. They've just been using printouts to inform individuals. This prototype has not been implemented yet. The Army has recently decided that they want to pursue taking the information that you see here and having some tool to use to help individuals understand where their fit may be highest, and therefore I developed this prototype. So this has not been implemented.
Okay, I understand. So the next question is, so if this is a prototype, I understand that there will be some feedback probably, but you probably already have some conclusions. So what would you like to improve or add in future versions that you already see?
Well, I think one of the things I don't have a good method is actually outputting the data. Now you can work this in the cloud type environment, but is there a way to take all this information? I guess you could arrange it into a data table, but recording the information, I know is an option that's out there. I have yet to kind of implement a technique to do that. Now there is some value in not having any information recorded as well. But I guess that was one of the things I was curious, how can I output this data into a database, some repository in a slick way?
Cool. And so taking a few steps back, so when you were building this up, what packages or modules did you use while building it? You mentioned Plotly, but anything else that was particularly helpful?
Well, I mentioned the slider inputs here. So, this becomes very simple, I think, and intuitive to a user using, and this is a 5-point scale that you're seeing here. So, the widgets, the main widgets, I wanted to keep to just 1 or 2. So you see the slider text inputs are used throughout. I did call on the awesome checkbox group. The action buttons I really like, and these are pretty easy to implement to navigate you through the app. So I think the goal that I had is to have very little variety and variability in this, so that it becomes very simple and intuitive. The tables that you see, these are just data tables, and here they're arranged in a lot of different boxes. I did choose a very simple visualization because I think most people understand column charts or column plots or bar plots. And I wanted to add some information, but not make it overbearing. And you see the Plotly sunburst plot. So rather simple. I did add an information tab at the end too, which I think is always important. Please provide feedback and recommendations. This was meant for some of the customers and clients that we think this is most important to. So.
Interesting. So I see a fun question. So have you tried it on yourself, and did it recommend the career path that you actually took?
Well, I think it did acknowledge. So I would say this, personality assessments, and interest diagnostics can be very, very specific and direct for a lot of individuals. I self-reflect, and I think I'm very broad. I have very high interests in science, mathematics. That's my education background. However, I felt like my fit in the field artillery was extremely high. Now, I did transition to become an analyst, and that had, part of the decision making there involved family and other things. And I really enjoyed being an Army ORSA for half my career as well. So I think yes, I have. And I did notice that some of the more high technology MOSs seem to fit my demographic or my inputs. However, I like physical fitness. I like the outdoors. Those things that speak to the combat arms did as well, which field artillery is part of. So I did find it was reliable for me. Thank you.
So if you didn't go in this direction, what would be your second choice based on this app, or just in general?
I can't tell you. So I envisioned myself as a Army doctor throughout college, and I made a decision during college to go into the field artillery. And I don't recall if the medical fields popped up, but as a kind of a side note, I guess as you self-reflect, this might have helped me see those opportunities, the broad opportunities within the medical field. But I don't recall the ordered results that I had. I'm sorry.
I understand. No, that's perfect. Okay, that's all the questions we have. So thanks a lot for the presentation. As I said, it's super interesting for me. So maybe I will have some follow-up questions later.
I'm going to. I'm not sure how much time we have left.
I think we have a few minutes left. 4 minutes.
Okay, I'll just place back up. That is my email. I do have a GitHub page. You're welcome to look at any of the code used here. It is in one of the repos on my GitHub pages. Again, I really appreciate this opportunity. I would be very excited to get any feedback from any of the experts here, recommendations. I feel like I have thick skin, criticisms. This was one of my first big ventures in R-Shiny, and want to learn a lot more. I'm not sure if I'm on camera. I did, after doing all this, pick up Mastering Shiny by Hadley Wickham. I found this was really helpful. I did see many of the tools, features, widgets that I implemented are well described here. And I believe my two bosses from Peraton are on the line here up Dark 30 in Columbus, Georgia. So I appreciate Greg and Sean for joining. And to all of you, people in Poland, in the Ukraine, just know we think about you every day.
Thank you. That's good to hear. Okay, so thanks a lot, and everyone, see you soon on the next talk.